So something I do get asked often is, can I have a full-time job and be a successful active trader? And the answer is absolutely you can do that. As a matter of fact, I believe there's a lot of us that really have just started out exactly that same way. But that's the easy part of it. Let's talk about how it's a little harder than just that. Greetings, and salutations to all my brothers and sisters out there. Hey, welcome in for another round of stock talking and working on retiring early. And this time we're looking at, can you have a successful and active portfolio while working a full time job? And of course, the answer is absolutely yes, you can do that. I myself, that's exactly how I started out. But it's going to depend on a couple factors. It's just not so cut and dry as yes, you can, no, you cannot. It's going to depend, as with everything, everybody's a little bit different. Everybody's story's a little bit different. Everybody's time's a little bit different. And certainly everybody's job's a little bit different. So, what we're going to have to look at is, how much time do you have at your job? Do you have a lot of free time at your job? Do you get at lunch where you can pull away and be by yourself and research trades and look at these things? Maybe you have a job that doesn't have internet access or very spotty internet access where you work. Can you use your phone as a hotspot and get it on the internet that way? Can you only get out maybe once a day for a break for about 15 minutes? Or is there no way, no chance, no how that you're going to be able to trade during the day, but you still want to get started? You still want to get that portfolio started because you see the value of having a stock portfolio and actively trading that stocks. So, yes, you can do it, but think about the time that you have. So you don't, first of all, you should never be a day trader. Day trading is something that'll tear you up and set your money straight up on fire. So don't day trade, especially as a new trader. It's really very hard. I mean, it's the one that has the 98% failure rate to it. So I'd probably go ahead and shy away from that. It's extremely hard and impossible to do if you have an active job, because you need to be present. You need to be present all the time. And that's why it's not recommended to do 0 day DTE, day to expiration trades either. These require you to be there, be absolutely right there at the moment whenever it happens, whenever you have the right strike price that hits. You need to be right there, take that trade off. Or if it's sinking way down, you need to get out of that trade. You're not going to be there. You're going to be over there doing whatever it is, your priorities, your job, your main source of income, but your portfolio would need you. So here's what I recommend. If you're a new trader, first of all, this is what I recommend for you, period. But if you're a trader just getting into trading with a full-time job, this is also something that's for you. You're going to need to do defined risk trades. You need to do put credit spreads. You need to look at iron condors and these defined risk types trades that tell you what your loss could possibly be right from the get-go. Because if not, you could have a stock during your workday just absolutely plummet for some reason. And when it plummets and you don't catch it, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble and you don't have a chance to adjust it or roll it or do whatever. You could be very far underwater and it's going to be detrimental to your account if that happens over and over again. But with a defined risk trade, you know what it's going to be. Even if it all goes south and everything goes wrong, you know what your loss is going to be upon entry. So you have nobody to blame but yourself in that case. You was comfortable with taking the risk of that trade with your put credit spread, or whatever the case may be. As long as that risk is defined, the defined risk trade is going to be the way that you need to go, especially just starting out as a new trader, until you really, I'm not going to say get your feet wet, I'm going to say get your clear up to your neck wet, because you need to really immerse yourself in understanding how trades work, how options work, how it all goes down, and what you need to do to defend trades, what you need to do. How long should I put this trade on? How short of a time period can I work on this trade? So all these things kind of depend on you. We usually focus on somewhere around that 30-day time period, 30-day, 45-day to expiration for most of our options trades, but it doesn't have to be that way. Whenever it comes in time of earnings season, it's going to be a different way. Your case may be completely different because you like to trade fast moving stocks, whereas somebody else might like to trade slow moving stocks. So it's all going to be kind of different. You can't just tune into one video, get all the information you need, and go out and make a bunch of money. That's just not the way it works. If it did, everybody would do it. And if it was easy to do, then the game would be rigged. And I can assure you, it's a tough game out there. But whenever you first get into it, you're going to need to first have a very nice professional platform that you can trade from. You don't want one of these app stocks, or app stock trading platforms It's just not really the way to go. I'm not trying to, I'm not being mean or not saying they're terrible, but if you want to do professional trading and on a fair platform to where you're not going to get taken advantage of, you absolutely need a professional platform. The one I recommend is Tastytrade. I know it's a ridiculous name, but it's an absolute kick butt platform, and that's the one I use. That's the one I moved over to after wasting a lot of time and money in one of these app type stocks. So if you absolutely want a professional platform, you can go check out Tastytrade. Actually, if you join Tastytrade, fund Tastytrade, both of us will get $100. I'm not advocating that. I don't care about the $100. I just want you to have the right platform. And if you can go to the right platform and both of us win, hey, why not? And the link to that or the code to that is in the description. So no big deal. But get you a platform that's going to be successful. It doesn't have to be Tastytrade, but please, please, please go to a professional platform. And you're going to see these numbers and the whole schematic of the thing's going to look crazy. And you're like, oh my God, how does this thing even work? Just take your time. Learn the platform, learn how to do the trades, learn that you need defined risk, and just understand what you're getting into before you get into it. Don't just get into a platform and buy a stock. That's just not the way it's going to work. It's not going to be advantageous to your overall portfolio health. Get in there, build that foundation to where you can structurally put things on top of it. Get you a watch list. You're going to need a watch list of stocks to watch. And it's going to have to be a diversified watch list. It's not all gathered up in a tech sector, but get you one from a bunch of different sectors. That way you can have a chance to not only watch the stocks, but see how stocks perform. Like, how does this stock, run against this stock? This one goes all over the place and looks like an EKG, and this one right here looks like that EKG might have got unplugged. So just get in there and watch your stocks. Know how your watch list goes. Know what those stocks do day to day, how they move up and down. What's high points for them? What's low points for them? Do they trade sideways often? And once you get that piece of information, that's a vital piece of information to know. If you know that a stock trades sideways all the time, then you know an iron condor is custom made for you. It's a defined risk trade. It trades sideways. You can, kind of box it in with the iron condor, bada boom, bada bing, and there you go. Now that's how easy it can be. But you have to understand and learn all these things along the way before it becomes easy. Before you understood 2 plus 3 equals 5, you had to first learn how to count. So it's stacking on education and knowledge that's going to help get you to where you need to be. So understand, first of all, your time constraints. Know what you have to deal with. Know what you're looking at. If you can go out at lunch and find one good trade in an hour lunch, that is a very good lunch, because you don't want to go out at lunch and start stacking up a bunch of trades and then have to adjust 40 trades 4 days later on lunch. You're going to run out of time. You're going to have trades that aren't getting tended to. You're going to, you're going to sink those. You're going to take full losses, and it's going to be a bad situation. You also have to be constantly mindful of your buying power. Don't ever let your money go negative. Don't let it even get close to negative. Don't let it get close to zero. Keep that dry powder on the sideline, because once you start getting trades on and the market fluctuates up and down, well, then you're going to need to have a little bit of a cushion so that you don't get under that negative buying power, because you could be at work, sink under negative buying power, and then all of a sudden the risk management team starts selling off your assets. Not that that's a wrong thing. That's just the way it has to be done to protect their interest. But you may not know any of it went on, and by the time you realize that the stock's taking a swing, and so on and so forth. Just make sure that you keep buying power and you keep that cushion, so that when the stock market goes down 1, 2, 3 days or even more in a row, you're covered. You don't have to worry about it. And you've put your trades on long enough to where you can sit back and have time to relax and say, okay, it's going crazy right now, but I've got 30 days till this option expires. Let's see how it trades out. So all these things come into a factor to make for a peaceful existence while at work. You don't want to be constantly worrying about your trades and your portfolio where you're trying to do your job. I came from a place where I absolutely loved my job. I loved what I did. I loved where I did it. And shout out to the Rockland Ridge crew and Chelsea and the bunch. But I loved what I did. But I came to a place after a few years where my portfolio needed my attention more so than I could give it while having a full-time job. And that's where you want to be. You want your portfolio to grow large enough to where now you need to manage that portfolio. And please God, don't ever give it to somebody to just manage. If you build up your portfolio, don't ask somebody else, hey, how do I build a portfolio? You're doing it. If you're successful at trading, you're doing it. When you give your money to somebody else, say if some kind of stockbroker, manager of some nature, I don't want to say their names, but you are giving your money to a stranger that works for somebody else who has somebody else's interest in mind. They're not going to be able to negotiate all these different option trades. They're not going to be able to get in and out of products at all times. They have constraints like if the company tells them we need to put this person in Amazon, your money's going into Amazon. You may be like, oh my God, I don't want anything to do with Amazon. Look how down it is. But you can't do that. You can't do that unless you manage your portfolio. So learn your time. How much time do I have to manage that portfolio? Get your brokerage, fund that brokerage, and I recommend funding your brokerage with everything that you have dedicated to this cause, because you don't want to dibble and dally around in it, because it's going to be harder to trade a small account than it is a large account. If you just put $500 in there and try to make a go of it, it's going to be a whole heck of a lot harder, way harder in your life than if you just put $5,000 in it and try to make a go of it. And if you got more than that, I recommend doing that. But hey, go for it. You're working, you can do it. Just start slow, make sure you know all the things that you're getting into, and then take that first trade. See how it goes. Just weigh it out. And I promise that trade should lead to other trades, because you should trade often and you should keep your trades small. You don't want to go and make 2 winning trades and then say, well, you know what, I think I'll do 10 of these. No, no. That's how you absolutely burn up your account. So keep that buying power strong and just keep your education stronger. Hey, have a great day and tune in next time when we look at some more stuff. I appreciate your time. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next round and talk about more stock strategies and retiring early. Have a great day.